Never Really Mine is my favorite on the album.
Yes.
And so awesome. I love that one.
That's really cool that you picked that song. That was like, again, that was something that Jer sent me. Love was not designed for time. You were never. I was like, that's deep, man.
Hey friends, it's your girl, Emily Curl, and right now we are backstage getting ready for the album release party for the Lumineers. And of course, we have the guys here. Hi guys, hi Wesley, hi Jeremiah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, it's so nice to be here with you both. First and foremost, congratulations. Your new album, Brightside, is out now. Tell us a little bit about this project.
For one, it was a very different way to make a record than we've ever made. I think in the past, we really poured over every note and every sound and planned everything out. And this time around, it was very much more off the cuff, and it felt just more free and curious. So I think when you hear the record, there's a little less, nothing's really planned about it. And I think there's that spontaneity sort of comes out in the spirit of it.
So paint the scene for me. When did you create the album? Where was it? Who were you with? I guess for the majority of them, what did all those details look like? You know,
we'll start on our phones, like recording a voice memo back and forth. Jared will send me something, or I'll send him something, and he lives in Italy, so it's traveling a long way, but you know, it feels like you're right next to each other when you're doing something like that. And then when we have a decent pile of those voice memos that we feel like are good ideas, we'll come together and sort of workshop them to an extent. And then after that, we head to the studio. And so this time around, we came in with these really bare bones, simple voice memos. It was almost like, I would describe it as going to the open mic, you know, where you present it in such a bare bones way that you're not quite sure how it's going to be filled out, what instruments you're going to use. So like something like Brightside began on an acoustic guitar and there was no drums. And then in a day of just working on it, Jerry came up with this beautiful drum part. I was using this electric guitar that I had never really played before. It was like just kind of looking around the room and trying things out that we might not normally, try, made it on the record, so.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing I always really admire about you both in your music is your lyricism, where I feel like it feels so personal and that we really get a peek into your lives and what you're going through. For this album, how personal did this one feel for you both?
This was different in a lot of ways because there's a lot of hooks and a lot of like choruses that Jer had sent me, and it's just a lot of the ways that I think you come up with things is just naturally going to be different. And I think something like Where We Are, something like Never Really Mine, Birthday. We have a lot of songs where the way he was saying it was so much more direct and to the point than the way that I might try to say it. And it felt really honest. And I think that's what I really love about collaborating with Jer is that there's sometimes he'll listen to me on a drum part that I'm sort of like seasoned expert in, and then he's an amazing drummer, but I'll be like, try something like this, and he'll just be open to it. So
I think that's the really beautiful part of our collaboration is that I think Wesley is being humble, but he would never consider himself a drummer, but he has great drum instincts. I mean, even harking back to the first album, Submarines, Wes had some really out-of-the-box, non-drummer ideas that for me flipped that song and made it so creative and unique. And I think that it's pretty neat, this relationship. I mean, we've been writing for 16 years, and if I do send him a lyrical idea, it's like I feel like I'm putting it down like the garbage disposal. In other words, if he doesn't respond about it, give any feedback, I'm just like, I have there's no ego about what I'm trying to portray or do. And it's just very this honest, what do you think? And I'll just send it away. And then obviously we tend to collaborate on the things that we think are the strongest. So I think it's a beautiful collaboration in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, and you both mentioned this, but Never Really Mine is my favorite on the album.
Yes.
And
so
that's awesome.
I
love that one. So I'm curious for you both, which a track right now maybe is resonating the most with each of you?
That's really cool that you picked that song. That was something that Jer sent me. Love was not designed for time. You were never. I was like, that's deep, man. Let's do something with that.
No, I was emotional. I was in my feelings with that one.
Yeah. Our friend who does our music videos, the majority of them lately, Nick Bell, we went to school with and been friends forever. That was always his favorite. He's like, that should be the first single. He's just loved it.
No way. Yeah.
But what would you say yours?
I honestly, I think it might be Love Was Not Designed for Time. I think that lyric You Were Never Really Mine was actually under a very sad sort of situation. My older brother, he passed away many years ago, and maybe like the last 7-8 years ago, I remember calling my mom, and I think it must have been on like the anniversary of his death. It was some sort of special anniversary, maybe his birthday, and she was crying on the phone, and she said something that just sort of stopped me dead in my tracks, where she was saying, like, as a mother, you care for your children, you try to take care of them, you try to protect them from the world. And she said something to the effect of, I think she literally said, he was never really mine, like fighting back tears. And I was just like, whoa, that's like from a movie or something. It just sort of floored me, stopped me dead in my tracks. And I was like, never forgot that, obviously. And then it resurfaced in a weird sort of ambiguous and a romantic relationship. You could interpret it that way too, of course. But
yeah,
she said this phrase, I don't know if she made this up, Kathy Freites, but she said, as a mother, you guys were always on loan from the throne. I was like, I don't know who said that, on loan from the throne, but referring to me and my brother as like, you have this time with people, all of our people in our lives, all of our friends and family, and you don't own anybody. Your girlfriend, your daughter, your son, they're not yours, but you think of them that way, and it just stopped me dead in my tracks. Thought it was a very poetic and profound thing to say. So.
Yeah, yes, stopped me too. When I heard it, I was like, that's just, the truth sounds different when someone says it. That's like that's a sort of truism throughout lyrics and movie dialogue and all these different ways that you hear people speak, and then it just sounds a little different when it's rooted in something like what you heard. Like lately it's been AM radio. It has this really big chorus to it, and we were kind of describing it as like the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds moment, where it's almost melancholy in the verses, and then there's this drum that kind of, it's like the drum is coming into the party and going like and just changes the whole tune and turns the whole song on a dime. So I just enjoy that because it just feels like one of those songs that has this like timelessness to it. It feels like it's gonna go on beyond us or something. Like the similar feeling I got with Stubborn Love when we wrote that. It was like, oh, there's something more eternal about this than you can put your finger on, but there's something about it.
One thing that I also love that you both said about that song in particular too was the lyrics of talking about when you hear a song for the first time, right? And you can feel hypnotized or life changed by it. And you kind of discussed this, but what was that song for you both when you first were like, oh wow, like this is the song that I'm gonna be hypnotized by?
Well, I can only say that I remember going downstairs, I was like half asleep and I thought I had this really great idea, and I went down and I like recorded it and thought, my job is done here. This is like so good. And then the next day it was so bad, and I think I don't even know if I ever showed it to you. I just remember thinking, man, I was half asleep. Yeah. But eventually there was this, we knew we had this great verse. It was something that Jared showed me years ago. The melody's so good, and sometimes it's more maddening when you feel like you have a great verse and just nothing that complements it. And that's worse than having no song idea at all sometimes, because you're like, we're so close. It's like you're looking up at Mecca and you're like, I gotta get there. Like, so Jared came to my house one morning and was like, hey, remember this idea? What about if we marry these two ideas, like smash them together? And I was just like, that's it. Like, that's incredible. So for me, the randomness of the two ideas and then having the sort of mind to be able to put them together, I was like, I just felt like the rest of the album felt like it was going downhill after that. Like, you know, when you have a certain idea, it liberates the rest of the record to be a little more free, because you're forcing it so much on that you can relax.
What's crazy about that song, AM Radio too, it's probably one of the most, I just love that song, like top 2, right in with Wes. Like, I think it's such a cool song. I really am proud of it. What's crazy is that some like half-baked iteration of that song almost made it to like albums 3, kind of B-side reel. We had the verse, we had that really cool other verse 2.0.
Right.
Like there was no chorus, there was no pre-chorus. It was kind of like a bridge and a verse idea melded. There was no drums, it was just piano and guitar. It was very like...
It was dreary.
Yeah, dreary and sort of like, I don't know, it would have been an amazing B-side, but such a waste. And I think we had enough, like wherewithal to be like, let's save this. There's something more to this probably. And
yeah, our producer was like, Simon Felice was like, I think you guys should save this, or let's stick with these other ones. And luckily he said that, because it lived to fight another day and get to be like a whole song, you know, instead of just this kind of forgotten B-side.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I mean, and again, this album is coming out in our new year, which we're so excited for you guys. The album's incredible. A new album, a new year. Are you both resolutions people, and do you have any resolutions for this new year?
Normally it's to, you know, have like a better work-life balance and like try to not spend our entire year on the road, because we're such road dogs, like just always out there. And now it's like the opposite, where we're really itching, I think, and really want to be out there. Playing these shows for people has been, you know, actually so nourishing. After, you know, you kind of, I think every band goes through this, you sort of burn out. Like at some point you tour so much, and the second you're done touring, you write a new record, then you record it. It's like, it's such a weird grind that we were forced to stop. And I think now it definitely recalibrated how I thought about shows, where you forgot all these like virtual shows that you try to do. They don't feed you like connecting with people, that energy in a room. I used to think that was sort of woo-woo, like, you know, what does it matter? But it really does, like people's energy, people's attitude, their connection to it, it fills you up. And so taking that forward, I'm just trying to remember that idea of like what we got taken away from us is back again, hopefully, and we want to, you know, really cherish it, because it can be hard when you're like you feel exhausted or something. So try to like have that going forward.
Really be present. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for watching our interview with the Lumineers. Make sure you stream their new album, Brightside, out now on iHeartRadio, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.